You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
Yeah, you gotta love Alec Baldwin. Glengarry Glen Ross, probably one of the best movies ever. But I gotta ask that if the Equus existed in the time that that movie was made, would Alec Baldwin's comment be slightly reversed? Would it be, you drove up in a BMW, I drove up in an $80,000 Hyundai. That's my name. Hi everybody, I'm Brian Vitsky with the Taylor Automotive Group, and I'm here to introduce to you the all-new Equus, which really doesn't even hit $80,000. And yes, Hyundai has built a car that they say will stack up with some of the highest end luxury automotive vehicles in the market. $80,000 Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, Audi, some very, very high-end competition. And let's face it, when you put yourself in that class of car, expectations are pretty high. You know, you set up an appearance. You want to know that when you drive up, someone recognizes your automobile. That vehicle that you drove up into is a very definition of your success, your hard work, your personality, and your character. All right, but at the same level, it's hard to impress. You get into a vehicle like that, it's hard to create a wow factor, because when you start spending $100,000 on something, that wow factor's already pretty much been created. There are certain expectations. You know, there are certain expectations of luxury that for Hyundai to build this car and say that they create some vehicles that stack up to those expectations, well, what are those expectations? Do you expect your vehicle, your luxury $80,000 to $100,000 vehicle, to have a certain level of chrome accents to really complement the design of the vehicle and really add to that jewelry look that you hope to have? Do you expect the vehicle to have LED lights in the headlights to really kind of complement that high-end expensive technology that you're hoping your vehicle has? Do you expect an engine to produce class-leading horsepower, pushing 429 horsepower? Do you expect a transmission that complements that horsepower, creating a smooth, efficient feel to the performance? Remember, Hyundai added an 8-speed transmission that they developed in-house, and you have an award-winning 429 horsepower V8 engine that Hyundai boosted up to a 5-liter from the previous year, which was a 4.6-liter. Do you expect your rear passengers to have a certain level of luxury that you wouldn't find in a normal vehicle, that adds a certain comfort to an everyday ride? Would you expect them to have heated seats in the back seats? Would you expect them to have a center console that allows them to control all the media functions up front? Do you expect them to have a certain level of luxury in the leather seats that they're sitting in that provide more knee room and leg room than most vehicles in its class? Do you expect them to be able to sit there and recline their seats to be able to kind of create more of a comfortable feel for a longer ride? Do you expect them to have LED lights in the headliner? Do you expect to have a nice felt finish in the back end? When you're in your luxury $100,000 car, what do you expect the dash to feel like? What do you expect the passenger seat and the driver's seat to feel like? Do you expect to have LED lights for your overhead lights? Do you expect to have a nice, clean, yet simple, yet functional media system? Do you want to be searching around for buttons, or do you want something to be nice and user-friendly for that everyday experience? Do you want to have easy functionality right from your dashboard? Do you want to know that you're going to have little touches, like maybe a massage seat for your driver's seat, a leather that is untouched by anything else? In your $100,000 car, what would you like to have in your vehicle that may set your vehicle aside from all of your friends or colleagues? Could it be a sound system that is so unique, on such a high level, that the only other automotive manufacturer that this company would agree to build a sound system for was Rolls-Royce? And it sounded a little bit like this. I will still be here as long as you hold me. Clean, crisp. You hear every single instrument. Nothing like it out there. Sorry, I'd let you listen to more of it, but you really got to sit in the car to get the feel for it, because I don't know that your computer system is going to really complement what this sound system is like. It is just amazing. Now, to drive this car is an experience all on its own. A lot of us may ask ourselves, you spend a certain amount of money, how nice can a car actually drive? Well, until you drive one, don't ask the question. Because to drive this thing is unlike anything I can really pass on to you on camera. It's different, you know. You feel the power, you know. You feel 429 horsepower, but it doesn't feel like a hot rod. It feels commanding, you know. It feels responsive. It feels smooth, and it's there when you need it, but it's not overwhelming. You're surrounded by just quiet. Hyundai paid so much attention to detail on putting so many sound deadening materials in here to keep any outside interference from getting into the cabin. It's a different ride, you know. The leather seats that you're sitting onto, you know, you're driving this big car, but the steering system is very easy. It's not responsive like you might find in the Genesis. You know, the Genesis is a sports sedan. You know, that car is going to hit the bumps a little bit different. It's going to handle the turns a little bit different. It's going to be a little more responsive. And this car is not going to be a car you want to take a turn faster, but it'll take it. You know, it'll take it nice and calm and smooth. But as you go over bumps, it's going to have a nice floaty ride to it. I could tell you that this is a car you could probably drive, you know, for 10 hours and not feel the need to get out of the car until, you know, maybe you had too much coffee. One thing I did notice, I've had the luxury of sitting in a lot of higher end vehicles, you know, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, and Audi, BMW, things like that. And you know, this car has all the technology you'd expect it to have, from your media systems to adaptive cruise control to lane departure systems. But Hyundais really do seem to operate better than some of the higher end vehicles that are out there. Your lane departure system, you know, it vibrates the seat belt if it starts to sense that you're starting to veer over from your lane without turning your turn signal on. And it pulls that seatbelt real tight and it shakes you. And I gotta tell you, I mean, it's pretty responsive. If you really test it out, it'll surprise you. You think, I mean, is a seatbelt really gonna wake you up? This sucker will wake you up. Your adaptive cruise control, you set your cruise control. If somebody pulls in front of you, or if there's a car in front of you and your braking distance is less than what your speed is, then it's going to automatically decelerate the car. And as your braking distance becomes safe again, it's going to resume the speed. I had a situation where I was driving this car and someone from the right lane had came over to the left lane. All of a sudden, this thing reacted faster than I thought it would be. I almost went to push on the brake, but the car decelerated itself. I never had to do anything. And the second this guy got right back over, it resumed speed. So it's an amazing, amazing, amazing technology that's on this car, and there is absolutely no regret. You're not compromising anything. From the other features that we looked at before to the ride quality of the vehicle, I can tell you that Hyundai priced this thing to start at $58,000. And from every vehicle I've ever driven, up from $70,000 and up, from Lexus, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, this thing stacks right up to the best of them. So, gotta ask your question, does it make sense? So I get it, right? You drive the car, you look at all the features, and clearly it has everything you'd expect a luxury vehicle to have. But there has to be some reason why you would still choose to spend significantly more money and get something very similar. Maybe it is the dealership experience, because I get it, you know, let's face it, you go to a high-end luxury car dealership, there's certain privileges and luxuries you'd expect that dealership to provide for you. Well, let me tell you that Hyundai has singled out certain dealerships to represent the Equus brand, and they've extended specific luxury features to you, the consumer, and the Equus owner. You don't pay any maintenance on the car for 5 years. There's concierge services. There's a lot of things that come into play that really don't fall in anything else. So I encourage you to give us a call and see what those features are. One last thing, Ed Harris, you may want to call Alec Baldwin out and take him outside to take a look at your new Hyundai, the one that he picked on you about, because I think he may come to realize he paid too much money.